Aaron was a young human who had come with a group of traders to a grand alien city known for its tall shining towers and wide glowing streets. The city was alive with voices, strange smells of spices, and the hum of machines that humans had never seen before. Most of the humans stayed close to the main roads where it was safe, but Aaron had always been different. He liked to wander, to look at corners where others never went, to find places that felt forgotten. One afternoon, while the skies above the city turned into shades of soft violet, Aaron walked farther than usual. He left the crowded markets and passed through narrow lanes where the walls were covered with old carvings. The air grew quiet, and the noise of the city faded behind him. At the end of a small path, he noticed something unusual. A heavy stone gate stood before him, covered in vines with strange glowing leaves. It looked abandoned, as if no one had passed through it in many years. Curious, Aaron pushed the vines aside and pressed his hands against the gate. It opened with a soft groan, and a rush of cool air touched his face. Beyond the gate, the sight made him stop and stare. He had discovered a garden. It was not like the gardens humans kept. This one looked alive in a different way. Tall trees with crystal-like bark stood among glowing flowers that shone like lanterns. The grass beneath his feet sparkled faintly as though dusted with stars. In the center of the garden, a pavilion rose, its roof curved in elegant shapes, its walls half hidden by flowering vines. Water trickled from a fountain carved with symbols Aaron could not understand, and the sound of it made the whole place feel peaceful. Aaron stepped inside slowly, almost afraid to breathe too loudly. He felt as though the garden was waiting, listening. He knelt beside a glowing flower and touched its soft petals. They moved slightly, as if alive, yet did not pull away. For the first time since he had come to the city, Aaron felt truly calm. But then he heard a sound. It was soft at first, like a footstep brushing against the grass. Aaron turned quickly, his heart beating fast. From behind one of the tall crystal trees, a figure stepped forward. It was not human. She was tall, with smooth pale skin that shimmered faintly in the garden's light. Her silver eyes reflected the glow of the flowers, and her long dark hair fell gently over her shoulders. She wore a simple robe made of soft material that seemed woven from light itself. She looked at Aaron with surprise, as though she had not expected anyone else to be here. For a moment, they only stared at each other. Aaron thought she looked more like part of the garden than a person, quiet, graceful, and mysterious. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was calm, carrying a soft melody in its tone. "You should not be here." Aaron hesitated, unsure of what to say. He did not want to seem rude. I didn't mean to intrude. I found the gate open, and I was curious." The girl tilted her head slightly, studying him. Her eyes narrowed, but not in anger, more in wonder. "Few of my kind come here anymore. And humans, they have never entered." Aaron looked around the garden, then back at her. "It's beautiful. I couldn't stop myself from exploring." Something in his honest tone seemed to ease her expression. She stepped closer, though still keeping a small distance. "This place is old. It was built long before I was born. My people call it the Hidden Pavilion. It has been forgotten by most." Aaron's curiosity grew stronger. "Then why are you here?" Her eyes softened, and for the first time she gave a small smile. "Because I love it. It feels alive. And because here, I can be myself." Aaron nodded slowly. He felt the same way, even though he had only just discovered it. The garden was unlike anything he had seen, but it felt familiar, like a secret waiting for him all along. The girl looked at him again, her expression unreadable. You should go before others notice. Humans are not trusted in this part of the city. Aaron hesitated, not wanting to leave. But he also understood the risk. He gave her a small bow, trying to show respect. Thank you for letting me see this place. I won't tell anyone. The girl's silver eyes met his, and for a brief moment, something unspoken passed between them. She nodded once, then turned and disappeared deeper into the pavilion. Aaron walked back toward the gate, his heart still racing. As the stone door closed behind him, he knew one thing for certain: he would return. The garden was no ordinary place, and the girl who guarded it was no ordinary being. For the first time in his travels, Aaron felt that he had found something worth keeping secret, a place that called to him, and a meeting that might change everything. The next day, Aaron could not stop thinking about the strange garden and the mysterious girl with silver eyes. Even while walking through the noisy markets and speaking with the other humans, his mind drifted back to that secret place. He remembered the glow of the flowers, the quiet sound of the fountain, and the way the girl's voice had carried both caution and warmth. He told no one. If he spoke of it, the others would want to know more, and soon the place would be crowded with curious feet. No, it was better to keep it to himself. The garden felt like a secret meant only for him and perhaps for her. That evening, as the skies darkened to soft blue, Aaron found himself walking again toward the forgotten path. He pushed through the narrow lane, past the old carvings, and soon stood before the vine-covered gate. His heart beat quickly as he pushed it open. The garden welcomed him again with its soft light and peaceful air. The flowers glowed as before, and the fountain sang its calm song. But this time, he was not alone. She was already there. The girl stood near the pavilion, her hands brushing gently over the leaves of a flowering vine. She turned when she heard him enter, and for a moment her expression was unreadable. Then, slowly, her lips curved into the faintest smile. "You came back," she said softly. Aaron nodded. "I couldn't stay away. This place feels different. Like it was waiting." She studied him quietly, as if trying to decide whether to be pleased or worried. Finally, she spoke. "Most humans would not return. They are warned to stay away from old places. They say danger hides in forgotten gardens." Aaron chuckled lightly. "If this is danger, then it is the most beautiful danger I have ever seen." The girl tilted her head, her silver eyes narrowing slightly, but she did not seem angry. Instead, she turned toward the fountain and walked slowly. Aaron followed. "My name is Celera," she said at last, her voice calm but steady. Aaron felt a small warmth inside him. "I'm Aaron." She repeated his name softly, as though testing the sound. Aaron. A short name, but it carries strength. For a while, they walked together in silence, exploring the garden's corners. Celera showed him the oldest tree, its bark smooth like glass. She touched it gently, explaining, "This tree is older than my people's city. It has seen ages pass. Some say it remembers." Aaron placed his hand on the trunk. It felt cool, alive, as if it truly did remember. "Do you come here often?" he asked. Celera nodded. "Since I was a child. It is my refuge. Out there, everyone speaks of duty, tradition, and order. Here, only the garden listens." Aaron understood. He too often felt out of place in the busy city, where humans were watched carefully and judged quickly. In this hidden sanctuary, the weight of that judgment vanished. They sat together near the fountain, the sound of water filling the quiet between them. Aaron noticed how the flowers nearby opened wider, as if responding to their presence. The air felt lighter, more alive. "Does the garden always glow like this?" he asked. Selera shook her head gently. "No. It changes. Sometimes it is quiet, almost sleeping. But when I come, it awakens. And now, it feels different, brighter than before." Aaron looked around, then back at her. "Maybe it welcomes me, too." Her silver eyes studied him, and for a moment he thought he saw a hint of curiosity mixed with softness. But she quickly looked away. "Perhaps," she whispered. The evening passed quickly, the sky outside fading to night. Selera stood at last, brushing her hands against her robe. "You must go, Aaron. If others discover you here, it will bring trouble. This garden is ours, but the world beyond does not yet allow such things." Aaron rose, but he hesitated. "Will you be here tomorrow?" Selera's eyes met his, and this time she gave a true smile, small but real. "If the garden wishes it, I will be here." Aaron nodded, his chest filled with a strange warmth. He walked back toward the gate, pausing once to look back. Selera stood by the fountain, her figure glowing faintly in the light of the flowers. She raised her hand slightly in farewell, and he lifted his own in return. When Aaron stepped out of the gate and closed it behind him, he felt different. The city outside was loud and restless, but his heart was calm. He knew now that the garden was not just a place, it was a bond, a secret connection between him and Selera. And though the world outside might never understand, Aaron was certain of one thing: he would return again, and again. The garden was no longer just hidden. It was alive with meaning, and within it, a new story had begun. Days turned into weeks, and Aaron returned to the hidden garden again and again. Each time, Selera was there. Sometimes she was waiting by the fountain, her silver eyes calm and steady. Other times she was sitting inside the pavilion, brushing her fingers over the vines that hung like curtains. She never scolded him for coming, though she often reminded him of the risks. Yet even with her gentle warnings, Aaron could not stay away. Together they explored every corner of the garden. Selera showed him how the flowers closed when touched by moonlight and how the stones of the fountain changed color when rain fell. Aaron, in return, shared stories of Earth, about forests with green trees, about oceans that stretched farther than sight, and about small villages where people gathered under the stars. Selera listened closely, her eyes shining with wonder, as though she could picture those faraway places. Inside the garden, time felt still. But outside, the world was restless. Humans in the city were not always welcomed warmly. Many of Selera's people viewed them as outsiders, quick to take and slow to understand. Rumors spread through the streets: humans were careless, humans were greedy, humans could not be trusted. Aaron heard these whispers when he walked the markets, and though he kept silent, the words burned inside him. Selera, too, felt the weight of suspicion. Her family noticed her long absences. Her mother once asked, "Why do you return so late, Selera? What keeps you?" Selera only smiled softly and said she wandered alone to clear her thoughts. But the truth pressed on her heart. If they knew she spent her hours with a human, they would forbid it. Worse, they might destroy the secret place that bound them together. One evening, as Aaron entered the garden, he noticed Selera was quieter than usual. She stood near the fountain, her gaze lowered. "What troubles you?" he asked gently. Selera looked up, her silver eyes clouded. The voices outside grow louder. They say humans take what is not theirs. Some demand that humans be sent away from the city. My family believes the same. Aaron's chest tightened. And you? Do you believe that too? Celara shook her head firmly. No. You are not like that. You come here, but you do not harm the garden. You listen, you respect. You give me stories instead of demands. But, she paused, her voice soft. Others will not see as I do. Aaron stepped closer, lowering his voice. Then let them speak. Here, in this garden, it is only us. No one can touch what we share. Her eyes softened at his words, yet the shadow of worry did not leave. She turned her gaze to the glowing flowers, whispering, I fear what may come if our secret is found. The next day, Aaron heard whispers among his fellow humans as well. Aaron disappears too often, one of them said. He wanders where he should not. Another frowned. We must be careful. If the city leaders find fault, it will fall on us all. Aaron kept silent, but the words followed him like a weight. Both sides were watching, both sides doubting. The world outside the garden was pulling at them, trying to separate what the garden had joined. Yet inside the pavilion, their bond only grew stronger. One night, when the stars above shone like diamonds, Aaron brought Celara a small gift. It was a flower from Earth, carefully grown in a tiny pot he had carried with him during his journey. Its petals were plain compared to the glowing flowers of the garden, but they carried the scent of home. Celara looked at it with wide eyes, her fingers brushing the fragile petals. This is from your world. Yes, Aaron said softly. I wanted you to see something of mine, just as you've shown me yours. Her eyes glistened as she held the little flower close. It is simple, yet beautiful. No one has ever given me such a thing. In return, Celara led him to a hidden chamber within the pavilion, where the walls were carved with ancient murals. The carvings showed humans and her people together, standing side by side, sharing tools and gifts. Aaron's eyes widened. This means our people once stood as friends. Celara nodded. Long ago. But time and fear have erased the memory. Only the garden remembers. They stood together in silence, the weight of history surrounding them. In that moment, Aaron realized their bond was more than chance. The garden had brought them together, just as it had once united their ancestors. But as the night deepened, so did the shadow of doubt. Outside, suspicion grew stronger. Inside, their feelings grew deeper. The clash between the two worlds was coming closer, and both knew it could not be avoided forever. Yet even in the face of fear, neither could turn away. The days that followed were heavy with tension outside the garden, yet inside the pavilion, something gentle was blooming. Aaron and Celara met whenever they could, careful not to draw attention. Each time they stepped through the gate, it felt as though the garden itself welcomed them. The glowing flowers shone brighter, the fountain sang more sweetly, and even the air carried a softer fragrance, as though celebrating their presence. One evening, the sky above the city turned dark with clouds. A soft rain began to fall, its drops glowing faintly under the alien lights. Most people hurried indoors, but Aaron carried something carefully wrapped in his hands as he made his way to the hidden gate. His heart was nervous yet hopeful. When he entered the garden, Celara was already there, waiting under the pavilion roof, watching the rain fall over the glowing trees. She turned as she heard his steps, and a small smile touched her lips. You came, even in the rain, she said softly. Aaron smiled back and held out the small gift he had carried. I brought you something. Celera's silver eyes widened as she took the object. It was a small pot holding a delicate flower from Earth. Its petals were white with a soft golden center, plain compared to the bright blossoms of the alien garden, yet its scent was warm and gentle. This is from my home, Aaron explained. I grew it during our journey here. I wanted you to have it. Celera's fingers brushed the petals lightly, her eyes shining. It is simple, but so beautiful. No one has ever given me such a gift. To carry life from your world to mine, it means more than words can say. She placed the flower carefully near the fountain, where the water's glow touched it. For a moment, it seemed as though the earth flower bowed toward the alien blooms, as if greeting them. In return, Celera guided Aaron deeper into the pavilion. She pushed aside a curtain of vines to reveal a hidden chamber. The walls were covered with carvings and murals. The pictures showed humans and her people together, long ago, sharing tools, planting gardens, and standing side by side in peace. Aaron stared in awe. This proves our people were once friends. Celera nodded softly. Yes. But history is fragile. Fear erased these bonds, leaving only silence. Few even know this place exists. To most, the idea of humans and my kind together feels impossible. Aaron looked at her, his voice quiet but firm. Then let us be proof that it is not impossible. Celera met his gaze, and for a long moment, neither spoke. Something unspoken passed between them, as clear as the song of the fountain. Their friendship had already grown strong, but now it was something more. As the rain outside grew heavier, the two remained in the pavilion. They shared stories to pass the time. Aaron spoke of his childhood under wide skies, of playing by rivers and climbing hills. Celera spoke of her youth, of how she would sneak into the garden when her duties became too heavy. Their laughter echoed softly in the chamber, mixing with the rhythm of falling rain. At one point, Aaron noticed how the flowers around them opened wider, their glow warmer than before. The garden is brighter tonight, he said. Celera smiled gently. It responds to the heart. When we feel joy, it feels joy too. Her words settled deep in Aaron's chest. He looked at her, seeing not just the beauty of her silver eyes, but the warmth and courage behind them. He realized he wanted to protect this bond, no matter the risks. Celera lowered her gaze, as though sensing his thoughts. We must be careful, she whispered. If others knew, they would not understand. They would see danger, not harmony. Aaron reached out, not touching her but letting his words carry his feeling. Then we keep this as our secret, for now. But no fear can erase what we've found here. Her eyes lifted to meet his, and a small smile returned. Yes. Our secret. The rain finally began to fade, leaving the air fresh and cool. Drops clung to the leaves, shining like tiny jewels. Aaron and Celera stepped out of the pavilion, walking side by side through the garden paths. For the first time, Celera did not keep a distance between them. Their shoulders brushed lightly, and neither pulled away. The night felt alive, as if the garden itself was celebrating their closeness. The fountain's song was softer, almost like a lullaby. When it was time for Aaron to leave, he paused at the gate. Will you come tomorrow? He asked. Celera's silver eyes glowed gently in the dim light. If the garden wishes, I will always come. Aaron smiled, his heart full. As he stepped into the silent streets beyond, he knew their bond had grown into something rare and fragile. What had begun as curiosity was now something deeper, something powerful. In the hidden garden pavilion, blossoms of affection had begun to bloom, and both of them knew their lives would never be the same again. The hidden garden pavilion had become a place of comfort for Aaron and Celera. Every visit was filled with quiet laughter, gentle conversation, and the soft glow of flowers that seemed to celebrate their presence. Yet, outside the sanctuary, the world remained harsh and watchful. Rumors and whispers were growing louder, threatening to disrupt the fragile peace the two had found. One afternoon, Aaron approached the garden with a feeling of unease. He had heard voices in the marketplace, humans and aliens alike, talking in low tones about a forbidden meeting between their peoples. Some said that any human found in hidden places would be reported, and some claimed that any alien seen with a human could face punishment. His footsteps slowed as he reached the vine-covered gate, but curiosity and hope pushed him forward. Inside, the garden seemed calm, almost oblivious to the outside tension. Celera stood near the pavilion fountain, her silver eyes reflecting the sunlight that danced through the leaves. She smiled when she saw Aaron, but the smile did not reach her eyes. "You look worried," Aaron said softly, closing the distance between them. Celera shook her head. The whispers grow louder. People are watching more closely. Some have noticed the gate moving, though they do not know who enters. Aaron's heart tightened. "Do you think they will find out?" Celero looked at him seriously. "It is only a matter of time. We must be careful. The garden is safe, but we cannot protect it from everyone forever." Despite the warning, neither wanted to give up what they had found. Aaron stepped closer to the fountain, letting the soft water sound calm his thoughts. "Then we protect it together," he said firmly. "Whatever happens, we face it together." Celera's gaze softened, and she nodded. "Yes, together." For a time, they continued exploring the pavilion, sharing stories and small discoveries. Celera showed Aaron a corner of the garden where flowers bloomed only at night, glowing faintly like tiny stars. Aaron laughed as he tried to count them, but their glow made it impossible. He carefully touched a few petals, feeling their soft texture, and smiled. The garden was alive in ways he had never imagined. Each flower, each leaf, seemed to respond to their presence. And yet, a shadow lingered, reminding them that their secret could be discovered at any moment. As evening approached, Aaron and Celera sat together near the fountain, watching the water ripple with the reflection of the glowing sky. The quiet was peaceful, but the weight of the outside world pressed on them. "Do you ever think about what will happen if someone finds out?" Aaron asked. Celera sighed, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Yes. Every day. My family already suspects I spend too much time here. If they knew the truth, I do not know what they would do. And humans, your people, might be blamed too." Aaron reached out, but he did not touch her. His words were enough. "Then we do not tell anyone." "Not yet. We keep the garden as our own, no matter what." Celera looked at him, her silver eyes shining with gratitude and quiet relief. "You make it seem possible," she said softly. "Even when it feels impossible outside." They spent the rest of the day in gentle conversation, speaking of dreams and hopes. Aaron told her of stars he had seen from Earth, of mountains that seemed to touch the sky, and of rivers that flowed endlessly. Celera shared memories of the garden as a child, of secret corners where she would hide to read or paint the flowers, and of her fascination with humans long before she had met Aaron. As night fell, the garden glowed with soft lights. The pavilion was peaceful, but Aaron could not shake the feeling that danger was approaching. He rose to leave, pausing at the gate. "Will you be here tomorrow?" he asked. Celara stepped closer, her eyes reflecting both worry and trust. "If the garden allows it, I will. But we must be cautious. Shadows are moving closer." Aaron nodded. "Then we face them together, whatever comes." As he walked out of the gate, the sounds of the city filled his ears again. The air was heavy with suspicion and whispers, but in his heart, he carried the calm glow of the garden and the promise of Celara's presence. The hidden garden pavilion remained safe for now, a fragile sanctuary where two hearts had found a bond stronger than fear. But both Aaron and Celara knew that the shadows were coming, and soon they would have to protect not just the garden, but the connection that had grown between them. Even with danger near, neither considered leaving. Their trust and affection had taken root, and no whisper of the outside world could erase what they had found. The city outside the hidden garden pavilion had grown restless. Rumors of a human meeting with an alien girl had begun to circulate quietly among the streets and marketplaces. Whispers of disapproval floated through the air, carried by both humans and the alien people. Some said it was dangerous, some said it was impossible, and some believed the garden itself should be destroyed to prevent such meetings. Aaron knew he could no longer be careless. Every time he stepped into the city, he felt eyes on him, measuring his every move. But the thought of leaving the garden and Celara behind was unbearable. He had come too far to turn back now. That evening, he made his way through the narrow streets to the hidden gate. He paused for a moment, listening for anyone nearby. The city hummed with quiet tension, but inside him, determination burned brightly. He pushed the gate open, stepping into the sanctuary that had become more than a garden. It was a world where he felt alive. Celara was waiting, her silver eyes reflecting the soft light of the flowers. She smiled, but there was worry in her gaze. "Aaron," she said gently, "I feared you might be delayed. The rumors grow louder every day. It may not be safe for either of us to be here much longer." Aaron shook his head. "I will not leave, Celara. Not now. Not ever. I came here because this place is ours, because you are here. I cannot turn away." Celara stepped closer, brushing a leaf from the path. "And yet, we cannot ignore the world outside. My family may force me to leave. Your people may call you back. If we are discovered, it could ruin everything." Aaron reached out, taking her hand gently in his. The gesture was simple, yet it carried all the courage he felt. "Then we face it together. Whatever comes, we face it as one." Celara's silver eyes softened, and a faint smile appeared. "You make it sound possible, Aaron. But the choice will not be easy. We must decide what matters more: obedience to the rules, or listening to our hearts." For a long moment, they stood together in silence. The garden around them glowed softly, its lights reflecting the bond they shared. The fountain trickled gently, as if the garden itself waited for their decision. Finally, Celara spoke. "I have thought about this every night. I cannot abandon the garden. I cannot abandon you. My heart, it belongs here, even if the rest of the world disagrees." Aaron's chest tightened. "I feel the same. I came to this city seeking knowledge, curiosity, adventure, but what I found here is far greater. I found trust, friendship, love. And I will not give it up." They sat together near the fountain, the glow of the flowers illuminating their faces. Words were not necessary, they understood each other. Every shared glance, every small smile, carried the promise that they would not let fear separate them. But the choice required action. They could no longer meet in secret. The garden was a symbol, and their bond was a message, that humans and Celeris people could trust each other, could care for each other, and could share a world even if others doubted. Aaron stood, holding Celeris' hand. Then we show them. We speak the truth. We do not hide. We cannot allow fear to control our hearts. Celera rose beside him, her silver eyes shining with quiet strength. Yes. If we remain silent, we let doubt and fear decide our fate. We must be brave. Together, they left the pavilion's inner chambers and walked to the center of the garden. The glowing flowers seemed to respond to their courage, opening wider, shining brighter, as if the garden itself was cheering them on. Aaron and Celera turned to each other, hands still entwined. No matter what happens, Aaron whispered, we face it together. Celera nodded. Together. That night, they spoke before the unseen eyes of their city, the voices of tradition, caution, and doubt. They declared, quietly but firmly, that humans and Celeris people could coexist, that trust could grow where fear had once ruled, and that love and friendship were stronger than rules written in fear. It was a choice not without risk. They knew they could face anger, rejection, or disbelief. Yet for the first time, neither of them feared the unknown. Their hearts had chosen, and that choice was more powerful than any voice outside the garden. As the night deepened, the garden glowed around them, peaceful and alive. The hidden garden pavilion had seen countless seasons, but this night felt different. It felt like the beginning of something new, a bond that could not be broken by whispers, by fear, or by the passage of time. Aaron and Celera had chosen each other. And in that choice, the garden seemed to sigh with relief, knowing that its hidden sanctuary had nurtured not only life, but courage and love as well. The morning after their decision, the hidden garden pavilion felt different. The flowers glowed more brightly, their colors reflecting joy and courage. The air was warmer, the fountains sang more clearly, and the soft breeze seemed to carry a promise of new beginnings. Aaron and Celera had faced the choice of their hearts, and now, for the first time, there was no fear in the garden, only hope. Aaron arrived early, carrying a small basket with seeds from earth. He had prepared them carefully, thinking of how he could add a small piece of his world to the sanctuary. Celera was already there, arranging petals near the pavilion floor, her silver eyes sparkling with quiet excitement. You brought them, she said, her voice soft but full of warmth. Aaron smiled. I thought we could plant them together. A symbol of our bond, and of the unity between our peoples. Celera nodded, placing her hand on his as they knelt on the soft grass. Together, they dug small holes and planted each seed. As they worked, they spoke of dreams for the future. Aaron told her of gardens on earth, of forests and rivers and mountains where humans and nature lived in harmony. Celera spoke of the history of her people, of traditions that valued life, patience, and respect for the land. The seeds were small, fragile, but in that moment, they represented something much larger, a promise. Every touch, every smile, every whispered word made the garden more alive. Hours passed, yet neither wanted to leave. They wandered along hidden paths, exploring corners they had never noticed before. A small waterfall shimmered in the sunlight, a place Celera had kept secret even from herself. Aaron laughed softly as he dipped his hand into the cool water, watching the ripples reflect in her silver eyes. The garden feels happier today, he said. Celera smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. It always responds to what is here, Aaron. When hearts are brave, it grows brighter. When hope exists, it blooms. Today, it celebrates us. As they stood beneath the tallest tree, Aaron looked at her seriously. Celera, this garden has given us more than beauty. It has given us trust, friendship, love. I want to protect it forever, with you by my side. Her eyes softened, reflecting the sunlight on the leaves. And I want that too, Aaron. I want us to be together, not just in secret, but proudly. For as long as we live. Their hands found each other again, fingers entwining naturally. The garden around them seemed to hum with quiet joy, and even the flowers nearest them leaned slightly as if acknowledging their promise. Word of their courage began to spread, slowly and quietly, through whispers and stories. At first, many doubted. Humans and aliens, bound by tradition and fear, struggled to accept that trust could exist so freely. Yet those who took the time to understand were inspired. Aaron and Celera became symbols of what could be achieved when hearts were honest and brave. The pavilion, once hidden and forgotten, became a place where humans and her people could meet without fear. Though many still approached cautiously, more visitors arrived over time, drawn by the story of the garden and the bond it had nurtured. Children ran along the paths, learning the flowers' names. Young humans and aliens shared stories under the same glowing trees that had witnessed the first meeting of Aaron and Celera. One evening, as the sky turned violet and the stars began to appear, Aaron and Celera sat together near the fountain, watching the reflections dance across the water. The garden was quiet, yet alive. "Do you remember the first day you saw me here?" Celera asked, her voice soft. Aaron nodded, smiling. "I was nervous. The place felt magical, but I did not know you existed. I did not know this garden held so much life." Celera laughed lightly. "And now it holds more than just life. It holds us." Aaron took her hand in his again, feeling the warmth and the steady pulse of their bond. "Yes. And it will hold us forever, Celera. No matter what happens outside, this place, and our hearts, will remain." The garden shimmered in the soft moonlight, a living testament to courage, trust, and love. Every flower, every fountain ripple, every glowing leaf seemed to honor their choice. The hidden garden pavilion was no longer a secret. It was eternal, a sanctuary of hope, a symbol of unity, and a home for hearts brave enough to follow truth. As the night deepened, Aaron and Celera stood together beneath the glowing trees. Their fingers intertwined, their hearts beating in quiet harmony. They understood that they had discovered something rare and powerful, a love that transcended fear, a bond that inspired others, and a world where trust could bloom just as freely as the flowers around them. In the hidden garden pavilion, under the stars and soft glow of alien flowers, Aaron and Celera had found more than sanctuary, they had found each other. And in that discovery, the garden would shine forever.